What's up, A to Z Sports Nashville? Easton Freeze, Titans beat writer here at the Combine again with my buddy Derrik Klassen of The Athletic. Derrik, first of all, congratulations on the new job at The Athletic.
Thank you so much.
It's been a joy listening to you and Robert Mays on The Athletic Football Show. Thank you for joining me.
I appreciate it. It's good to be here. It's good to be on The Athletic at this point. So this is always a long week, but I'm very happy to be here.
We're going to talk a little bit about a big need for the Titans today that isn't quarterback. You and I were talking earlier. It is exhausting when you're covering the first overall pick to talk about everything outside of the draft is kind of difficult, and we're here at the Combine, so I think it's time to transition a little bit away. We'll eventually get to your quarterback thoughts here in a minute, but I want to talk about the edge position because the Titans need two of them. They don't have any starting edge. Harold Landry obviously going to be traded or probably cut or something. Not going to be.
He will not be on the team.
He's not going to be on the team. News flash: by the time we're watching this, he may already not be on the team. And so, with the first overall pick, with the 35th overall pick, it's a good class to need edge. That's the good news. And at the very top, I guess we could start with Abdul Carter, who is the guy that a lot of people, I'd say maybe half and half, folks think Abdul is the best player, some think Travis is the best player, but he is, I think, a consensus, top 5 edge player of the past couple of drafts. Is that fair to say?
I think for a lot of people, I in particular love edges who are a little bit bigger.
Okay.
That's just kind of the way that I rock. I like the Saints and Lions, for example, have subscribed to we need 275-pound edges, and I've loved the way that they've built their room. So Abdul Carter is not necessarily my cup of tea, but he is incredibly explosive. The fact that he's only played the position for 1 year and is already as put together as he is really impressive. For me personally, I wish he was a little bit better and stronger of a run defender, but in terms of the pure pass rush stuff, which is when you're picking a guy in the top 5, that's what you're going for. You want the explosive pass rush ability. He certainly has it. So I know some people have put him in the category of is he right next to what Myles Garrett was? And I'm I don't know if I like him quite that much, but he's a very good player. And if any team took him top 5, top 6, I think they would probably be pretty happy with him.
So we all seem to agree that Abdul is edge 1 in this class. That's where the agreement ends, I think, because I've heard all kinds of different answers about who the next guy is. And for me, I really like Mykel Williams out of Georgia. 20 years old. We heard yesterday, I think, that he was apparently playing at 60% for a lot of the year, which kind of, I think, contextualizes on tape some of the lack of bend at times, kind of stiff around the edge at times, but it was so inconsistent. You're well, he can do it sometimes, and sometimes he can't. Okay, he's hurt. Got it, he's hurt. And he apparently didn't practice until the Texas game, which was the SEC championship game, I think is what he was alluding to. So if he is as good as I think he can be in the NFL, I would not be shocked if he's an edge off the board. I know guys like Dane have him really, really high on their list, and he may be a top 10 pick. Who's your second best edge in this class?
Today's video is brought to you by our new friends at Bart Durham Injury Law. A crash can change your life forever, and help is only a click away at bartdurham.com. At Bart Durham, your big truck wreck is their fight for justice. They've been in business since 1975, so they have half a century of experience dealing with all kinds of wrecks. They're locally operated here in Capitol View, Nashville, but they can fight for anyone in Kentucky or Tennessee who's been in an auto accident. Attorneys are available to meet with you wherever is most convenient, including virtually, and you can reach the Bart Durham team 24/7 to get your legal questions answered. Just call 615-242-9000 and let Bart Durham help today.
Mine, so I do love Mykel Williams. He's probably 3 for me. I really love Mike Green. I just think his bend is incredible. His explosive ability is absolutely insane. And I know some people are going to be he played at Marshall, but watch his 2 past games this year. Ohio State, Virginia Tech, really good competition relative to the other teams that he's playing. And he was the best player on the field, I think, by a mile. And to me, I also just love his motor. He's not the biggest guy either. He's probably only slightly bigger than Abdul Carter, but I just think the way that he attacks against the run and the way that he's willing to really get in there, it's the type of stuff I fall for. So I really like Mike Green. So for me, it's probably Carter and Green in some order, and then Mykel Williams. I really do like Mykel. His big, long, strong is usually the type of guy I fall for, and that is exactly what he is. So I really like him a lot.
His counterpart at Georgia, whose name I'm totally blanking on.
Jalen Walker.
Jalen Walker, right.
I don't even know if he's an edge.
I was about to say, is he a Sam linebacker? He's not, talk about not a big fellow. Some people I've talked to think that he's the better player of the two. I disagree. What do you think?
I think Mykel Williams, the way that I would frame it is, I can see the world where potentially Walker is a better player. He's incredibly explosive. He's really fast. You could move him around all the formation. The problem is sometimes the guy that you can move all around the formation, it's because you don't exactly know what to do with him, rather than I know that he can do all these things.
Right.
With Walker, it's like, man, I just don't know where his best spot is. With Mykel Williams, it's like, well, I know I'm going to put you on the edge. You're going to set the edge against the run, and you're going to be a really good power crusher, like against the pocket and really crush the pocket. So I feel more comfortable with Mykel Williams just because I know exactly what I want to do with him. Whereas Walker, it's like, maybe he's a linebacker, maybe he's a pass rusher, maybe he's Frankie Louvu where he's kind of both.
Right,
So it's like I think he's a good player, but he's a little bit trickier for me to find what I want to do with him.
All right, Mr. Big Fast Tall, Shamar Stewart, what do you think?
Funny enough, he should fall into my category of guys I love.
You should like him.
I just can't get there with him.
Okay.
I don't think he's that bendy, and I think if you're going to be the guy that is big, strong, explosive, long, and especially at 280, like at least Mykel Williams is a little bit closer to 265, so he can be a little bit more fluid at times.
Did you see what he weighed into today?
What did he weigh in today?
267. He's lost 15 pounds since the Senior Bowl.
Shamar did?
Now, yeah.
See, now that's interesting because I know...
That's a 40-time weight, I think.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
That's not what he's going to play at.
But I know that's interesting too because Nick Scorton, his teammate, also said that he was like playing 280 during the season, but he said he likes playing more at 265. So I wonder if those guys just don't want to be at the weight that they wanted to be at in college, and now they're
just wants them bigger at A&M.
Exactly.
And perhaps. Because they also, I mean, these are guys that, if their production profile matched their physical traits, it would probably be a different story. That's the rub with Shamar, and I've heard some people say, well, is he just going to be like a Tyree Wilson type where, the measurements are going to blow us away, the traits are outrageous, he's a younger guy, and yet in college the production was lacking. We don't like him. We're going to figure it out in the NFL. And so far it's been mixed results with him in Las Vegas. I just don't know about him, because some people talk about him as a top 15, top 10 player. I'm not there on that.
Yeah, that's a little rich for me. He's more of like a second round type of talent to me. I think I was actually talking to maybe Nate Tice, but he made the comparison of like, it's kind of like Bud Dupree. It's like, he's very obviously explosive,
right?
But he's explosive in one direction,
right?
And like, it's like he's a good run defender, but he's not an elite run defender. It's just like, I think he will be a useful player. It's just that me looking at him top 10, top 15, it's like, it's funny we talk about Mykel Williams. It seems like all the stuff that people say Shamar Stewart is really good at, I see all of that in Mykel Williams, and it's like, I'd rather just have that guy.
That's exactly how I feel. One more first-round guy is a guy that Titans fans are probably going to be familiar with, James Pearson of Tennessee. We've heard all of the not football things, and I'm not here to speculate on all that. I don't know. The fact that every really plugged-in person has him as a top 10 talent and is having him maybe fall out of the first round in their mocks, I think is all you probably need to know about whether or not that smoke is fire-worthy. But in terms of a talent, his production profile is ridiculous, especially from an analytical standpoint. I mean, only guy, I think, in 2 years to have over 20% pressure rate. If a team convinces themselves they're not worried about whatever that is, where would you take this guy?
He's actually not my cup of tea, really, because he's one of those guys who's a little bit smaller. He's more like quick, fast, doesn't really defend the run. They'll like flip their formation defensively to get him away from the tight end side because they don't want him getting run at.
Yeah.
So that is something that worries me a lot in the NFL. I think he's a guy who could be like Bryce Huff or Josh Uche when he was doing really well. And it's like, okay, those are obviously players you want on your team.
Right.
But for draft purposes, like, that's not a player I take in the first round. That to me is more of like a late day 2 type of guy. So I'm probably not quite as high on him, even if there's very obviously a role for him in the NFL. It's just I'm probably not as high on him as some other people.
Now, if the Titans don't go edge in the first round, it feels like they're almost certainly going to go edge in the second, or if they find a way to get a third-round pick because they need it so badly. A couple of guys I want to mention as potential second-round picks. The first is the Ole Miss prospect, Princely Umanmielen. Is that sure? Princely U.
Yeah.
I think on the consensus board he's like in the 40s right now, so he's probably going to be in that range for the Titans at 35. Have you watched him, and what do you think about his game?
I've seen him a little bit. He's one of those guys that is confusing to me because just body type-wise, he looks like Mykel Williams, like that type of guy.
Right.
Does not play like Mykel Williams.
Right.
Mykel Williams will crush your face mask in. Prince U's face mask will get crushed in, and so I have a little bit of issues with him. So he's probably another guy who, like, as far as edge guys goes, I'm probably not quite as high on as other people.
And then it's something about these guys in this range. Donovan
Eziraku?
Yes,
I don't even know if I said that correctly.
That's better than I was going to do. So Boston College prospect, he's in that same range.
And he's funny, he's the opposite where he's actually kind of a smaller guy. He's closer to like 6'3", 250.
But he does want to kill you.
Man, he wants to kill you, man. He wants to crush your face mask in. He's high motor all the time. he has a decent amount of like a pretty good array of pass rush moves. So he's a guy where I struggle to see the ceiling just because of size and stuff like that, but he's a guy who it feels like pretty automatically will be a very useful player. So probably not a first round talent, but if they're a team that, if where are the Titans picking, like 37?
35.
That would be a perfectly fine range for a guy like him. I would be pretty happy with
Any
that.
D-line front seven guys I haven't asked you about that you're like, I got thoughts on this guy. I need to talk about this guy. Did we cover them all? Maybe we did.
So as far as edge, we covered most of the guys that I've seen. And just in terms of other front seven guys I love, I would take Jahad Campbell like top 5, dude. I think he is an unbelievable linebacker prospect.
And he's going to test stupid.
Former defensive end who's like 6'3", 240. He can move backwards really comfortably. Like his coverage stuff is pretty good at times. So I'm all in on him. And then I really like Derrik Harmon out of Oregon. I know the Titans in particular don't really need D tackle. Like they're pretty set there.
It's one of the only positions that
you guys are good at. But if you guys are looking at division rivals who are potentially looking at defensive tackles, if they draft him, I would be pretty scared. I think he's a really good player.
You know what? You just sparked a memory because I was listening to you guys on the Athletic Pod on the way up here because I was like, I'm going to corner him and I want to know what he's going to say. You talk about fits for what you like. Carson Schlesinger isn't.
He's really not.
And yet, you're enamored.
Yeah, I don't love typically those the 230-pound. He actually weighed in at 242 today, which is crazy.
That's good. Okay.
He will play at 230. That is not his size.
Fake weight.
Right, it's fake weight. It's water weight.
Yeah.
But I typically don't love those guys who are smaller and just play fast and shoot gaps. Like Terrell Bernard, objectively good player.
Yes.
When I watch him, I'm like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
But there's something about Schlesinger that is just, it's so fast. His instincts are incredible. Some of his coverage stuff is as good as anybody in this class. So he will get moved off the ball at times, but I think some of the other stuff can be so good that I'm willing to look past it a little bit.
Okay, he's also the most hockey player-coded football player I've ever seen in my life. So
it's the hair, man.
It is the hair, and if he ever cuts it, I'm out. Immediately, he's going to be a bad player.
Red flag.
Right. You said that you have watched some of the offensive linemen because of all the edge and D-line work that you've done. Any of those, the Titans, they need big help on the right side of the line. Of course, they've invested a ton on the left side of the line. And so that's also up there with edge in terms of need. Probably more easily addressed in free agency if they wanted to go that route. But who are the guys on the offensive line that have stuck out to you in this class?
Yeah, so obviously Campbell I think he's as good as everyone else does.
Tackle?
I think he's probably a tackle. Or at least we'll see what the arm length
Give
stuff.
It a shot.
Yeah, when I watch him, I'm like, that's a tackle. He'll be fine.
Okay.
He'll be fine playing there.
That's how the teams seem to feel.
Exactly. I think everyone wants him to be a tackle. It's just if the arms are too short, we'll
the
all
summer
kind of
measurement was
disagree
32 7/8, which
if he can grow an eighth of an inch, I think everybody will be happy.
really loosen those shoulders up on
exactly.
measurement day.
Do some stretches, man. So the other one I really liked is funny enough, when I was watching Shamar Stewart, I watched the game against Missouri with Armand Membao, and I was like, one of these guys is a top 10 pick.
Right.
It's not the one I came in watching for. It's the tackle.
Right.
And so I think Membao is really good. His movement skills are incredible.
Yeah.
I think he's really strong. And it's one of those things sometimes people do with right tackles. They're like, well, why isn't he playing left? And it's like, some guys just aren't comfortable moving to their left. But when you watch his movement skills, the way that he'll get after people, I really like Membao.
All right. Now we can talk about the quarterbacks a little bit. We haven't heard from them yet here. That's tomorrow. But you've watched them both, I'm assuming. Cam Ward and Shooter Sanders, of course. I guess, first of all, are there guys in this class besides the two that I just named?
Absolutely not.
Okay, cool. Great answer. Awesome.
We can skip right past that.
Sweet. Okay, so with these two guys, are you? Let me start with, do you think they are both or either of them even top 10, top 5 worthy discussion guys?
I think Cam a little bit, and I'll caveat that by saying he is the exact type of quarterback I fall for, where it's hang in the pocket, make some boneheaded throws that sometimes look incredible, sometimes don't.
Right.
The arm talent is really good. So he's just, demeanor-wise, the way he handles in the pocket, he's very cool, very calm, isn't scared of anything. So he just does a lot of the stuff I love. And I think my other thing with Cam is he's not a perfect prospect. He's not as good as Drake and Caleb last year, none of that stuff. But with Ward, he went from being basically a wing T guy in high school.
Yep.
Then he goes to Incarnate Word, levels up again, goes to Washington State, levels up again and goes to Miami and plays really well at Miami. And so there's just something I really appreciate about a guy who every year he plays, he clearly gets better and more people want him. So I really appreciate that part about him. That's just the type of guy I want to bet on.
Would you take him at 1, though?
It's a little bit scary, but my thing is and I was talking to you about this a little bit, I would rather take Cam Ward at 1, even if he's not the ideal number 1 overall type quarterback, than sign Aaron Rodgers or Sam Darnold or whatever it is. It's like there's maybe more guarantee with some of those guys, but I'll take the dice roll on a guy like Ward. He's good enough that I can stomach it.
And with Shedeur, you just out entirely. You think it's a little bit rich first round. Where are you at with him?
I'm more like
he does the boring stuff. It's not,
that's the funny thing is like, you know, you're Deion's kid, but you're not actually that athletic or that talented. You do all the little stuff right. So I think he's a decent processor. He takes care of the ball fairly well. I worry a little bit that he's not going to have the athletic ability to really shine in the NFL. Like, I think you have to be probably at least like Bo Nix to really start to get away with stuff, and I don't think that he's that level of athlete.
Okay.
But he is a good decision maker. The accuracy's good. I think he's closer to like, you're drafting something akin to Teddy Bridgewater, Andy Dalton, like Jared Goff, and it's like you can obviously get high-level offense out of that. You need a lot of stuff to go right. You need a good offensive line. You need the right system. So he, to me, is like, if someone in the back end of the first round wanted to take the dice roll, a good environment, I would get it.
Okay.
For like a succession plan. In terms of teams that need a guy to fix the franchise right away, 5th overall, like the Giants or something, I'm a little bit more skeptical of that, I think.
Great, man. Guys, it's Derrik Klassen, The Athletic. Listen to The Athletic Football Show. It's a seminal piece of literature, piece of work in our space, and you guys do a great job, you and Rubber Maze. So thanks for hanging out with me, man.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.